Hello and welcome to the EKTV News at 7. I am Tunji Saliu. The wife of the Ekiti State Governor, Dr. Olayemi Abiodun Oyebanji, has congratulated children in the state for witnessing this year's Christmas season. Dr. Abiodun Oyebanji, who spoke at the children's party organized by our office to celebrate this year's Christmas with the children in Ado-Ekiti, encouraged them to celebrate moderately and focus on their studies to become better persons in life. Let's now join our reporter, Ademola Adeleke, for the rest of the story.
The First Lady, who congratulated the children on the successful completion of the first term in the 2023-2024 academic calendar, charged them to be worthy ambassadors of their families. She told the parents in attendance to reflect on the teachings of the season by giving to the needy in their neighborhood.
In this season of giving, let us remember those less privileged and instill in our young ones the value of kindness and generosity. I want to emphasize this, by the Mr. Governor's share prosperity agenda. Please, this is mommy. Are you with me? This is for you. During this season, please, let us give house to our neighbors.
The wife of the governor used the opportunity to remind parents of the need to protect their children from all forms of abuse.
You are hustling for us, you run around to make sure you put food on our table. It's good. We don't want abuse of our children. Me ò fẹ́ gbọ́ pé ọmọ 2 years kan wà molested o. Tí bá gbọ́ ìyá ọmọ yẹn gan máa gbé jẹ́ o.
Earlier, the state deputy governor, Okinlu Amonisa Diafuye, had rejoiced with the children and wished them Merry Christmas. She also advised them to prepare for their future by being committed to their studies. Similarly, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Mrs. Peju Babafemi, congratulated the children and wished them a prosperous new year. It was not an all-speech affair as the children staged a choreography, dance competition, as well as singing competition. Featured the cutting of the cake by the wife of the governor and the children. The children also went home with gifts courtesy of the First Lady. Ademola Adeleke reporting.
And the maiden edition of the Christmas Carol and Lessons of the Ekiti State Polytechnic Iroyin Ekiti has been held, tagged Let's Rejoice. The event was attended by the management, staff and students of the institution. We hope to bring you the report in the course of the bulletin. And the Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Abiodun Oyebanji, has appealed to well-meaning individuals to come to the aid of the less privileged by rendering assistance to them, particularly during the festive season. The governor made the appeal during the
It was the third batch of the distribution of cash to petty traders in community markets across the state. Idoele, Erio, Awo, and Inyekiti were the ports of call. The governor's team, led by the senior special assistant of the governor's office, Mrs. Sholabe, explained that the current economic situation necessitated taking the program beyond official request for help from the governor to assisting the people on the spot. She appealed to privileged individuals to join hands with the government towards achieving shared prosperity by giving whatever in their capacities to the needy.
It's called Ojushebao, Ajoshewani. He can't do it alone. If he can, it would have just been Ojushebao. But it's Ajoshebogowani. So all those that are blessed by God to look out for their neighbors, to look out for their communities. There's some homes that can't feed themselves during this festive period. There's some homes that they can't even, they don't even have clothes to wear for this festive period. So we are appealing to the privileged ones in the society to please reach out to the less privileged in our community.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the governor for the opportunity, praying for the success of his administration.
In the history of our entity, this is the first time that just an event will take place like this. I'm shedding tears of joy. Because of my connection, I'm shedding tears of joy because my God will bless this government. But this is because of this time around that's making me.
Even during the COVID-19, we have been sharing intelligence like this. Even with myself, I didn't get anything. I pray Almighty God will guide him, protect him, give him a long
Their
life.
program continues as the team is set to visit other towns during their market days. Yemi Olajutemu reporting.
In the meantime, the Ekiti State government has reassured families, dependents, and relations of fallen heroes of more commitment to their welfare. Governor Abiodun Oyèbánjí gave the reassurance during the launch of the Emblem Appeal Fund for the 2024 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration at the Lejibo Hall Government House grounds in Ado Ekiti. Let's now join our reporter Adedayo Adeleye for details.
Governor Oyèbánjí was represented by his deputy, Okinlo Amunisade Afuye, launched the sale of emblem with 1 million naira. He said that the launch of the emblem was aimed at rekindling government's interest in the plight of the families of the fallen heroes who lost their lives in the course of serving their fatherland.
This occasion is also an avenue to showcase our support and to acknowledge the roles, contributions, and selfless services of our fallen heroes. The celebration their heroic commitment to the country and the humanity.
Governor Oyèbánjí noted that the ceremony was to let retired soldiers and serving officers note that their labor shall never be in vain, as they will always be recognized and remembered. He added that government will do everything possible in ensuring that the welfare of the dependents of the departed received the needed attention.
We shall remain committed to the unity and peace of this great country. Since the inception of Mr. Governor administration, one of the major tasks is to ensure the security of life and property in the state, as much as you can witness. This administration has continued to improve on the security of the state, and we will not be deterred in sustaining the existing peace. To sustain the peace, we will continue to collaborate with all relevant security agencies to do the needful, so that the good people of the state can live without fear of security breaches.
Earlier, the Permanent Secretary, Office of Establishment and Service Matters, Mr. Muftau Shitu, said that the occasion was to remember the fallen heroes who fought gallantly for the oneness of the country.
It's worthy to note that Nigeria appreciates and honors the memory of our gallant officers who have paid the supreme sacrifice in order to keep the country united as an entity. The nation remains grateful for their efforts and sacrifices.
Also speaking, the chairman, Nigerian Legion, the governor, for his support for the Legion since assumption of office.
The launch is aimed at raising funds to assist the family members of our gallant men who have lost their life, to make sure we live in peace. This is the only way to appreciate our fallen heroes for their great sacrifice for the nation.
In attendance at the event were the dependents of the fallen heroes, members of the State Executive Council, service chiefs in the state, among others. Adedayo Adele reporting.
We now take you back to the earlier promoted story where we told you that the Ekiti State Polytechnic, Isho Ekiti, has held its maiden edition of the Christmas Carol and lessons held at the campus of the institution. Tagged Let's Rejoice, the program was attended by the management, staff and students of the institution. The report.
The school choir rendered special carols while a presentation of a special number was rendered. Welcoming attendees to the event, Professor Adesodun, who read the first lesson at the occasion, commended the state government for supporting the institution, urging members of staff to step up their efforts by making the Polytechnic great in the coming year.
Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And on the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. Upon the throne.
He urged the people to allow the spirit of the season to reflect in their day-to-day activities by helping the needy and live in harmony.
Old and new, we are one in Christ. Well, the management has organized something for you. So we just manage it.
The chairman of the planning committee, Dr. Tayo Osho, congratulated the Polytechnic community for witnessing the maiden edition of the program. He urged the gathering to embrace the spirit of unity, joy, and goodwill that the season brings.
Come together in this festive season, let us embrace the spirit of unity, joy, and goodwill that Christmas brings. Tonight's event is not just a musical extravaganza, but a shared experience that unites us as a polytechnic and as a community in these joyous melodies of this season.
Some of those in attendance lauded the school management for putting up the event.
Workers in Ekiti State will continue to enjoy the attention of government in recognition of their roles in implementing government programs and policies. The assurance was re-echoed during the interactive session with the head of service in Ekiti State, Mr. Sunday Komalafe. The program, which was part of the week-long event to mark this year's Civil Service Week, was held at the Cultural Center, State Secretariat in Ado-Ekiti. Mr. Komalafe enumerated some of the steps taken so far by Governor Biodo Ibanji to better the lots of workers, which include prompt payment of salaries as well as recruitment and promotion of workers. The head of service emphasized that there was no intention to withdraw the buses released to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. He charged workers to continue to be loyal as government would accede to their demands as the economy of the state improves. And the Ekiti State Chief Judge Justice John Aideyeye has constituted a local government election petitions tribunal to entertain petitions emanating from the just concluded local government SCDA's elections held in the state on December 2. In a statement by the Chief Registrar of the Court, Olanike Adikoke, members of aggrieved political parties who are not satisfied with the outcome of the elections are encouraged to file their petitions at the tribunal's secretariat located inside the High Court premises in Ado. The statement added that the office will open between the hours of 9 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon, Mondays to Fridays. The chairman of Iroyin Local Council Development Area, Prince Michael Ogungbemi, has been honored with the year 2023 Honorary Ambassador of Success Award. The organizers of the award, the Interweave Solutions International, USA, said that the honor was in acknowledgement of the outstanding leadership and his commitment to good governance. The organizers of the program in Abuja commended Prince Ogungbemi's remarkable dedication to leading the Iroyin LCDA with passion. In his reaction, Prince Ogungbemi dedicated the award to the people of Iroyin LCDA and promised to continue to serve humanity. He said that all he was able to do at the LCDA was through the cooperation of all stakeholders. About 32 secondary school students in Ekiti who currently distinguished themselves in their studies have been given prizes by members of the Ekiti Association in Houston in the United States of America. The ceremony took place at the Cry School Alumni Association Hall in Ado-Ekiti. Our reporter, Toba Babalola, has the rest of the story.
The maiden edition of the annual prize given was attended by the award recipients, their parents, traditional rulers, officials from the State Universal Basic Education Board, Ministry of Education, Youth and Development, as well as Teaching Service Commission, STESCOM. Representatives of Ekiti indigenes in Houston, Texas were also on ground at the ceremony. In his remarks, the chairman of the association, Pastor Bolu Alabi, said Ekiti indigenes in Houston instituted this year's award for best students in the last junior secondary school certificate examination to encourage healthy rivalry and academic excellence in the state, as the association plans to impact on other sectors that affect the people and society.
This maiden edition is to kickstart what we believe will eventually become an award that will cover all the secondary schools in the state every blessed year. We have already met with the VC of the two state-owned universities in the state, and we have offered academic endowments. There are plans to do much more than that. There are also plans by the association to be impactful in other sectors of the economy, like healthcare, industries, science, technology, and so on.
Pastor Alabi said the initiative was to complement Governor Biodun Ibanji's feat in the sector. He said there was no shortcut to success and charged the students to be more committed to their studies. Checks of 50,000 naira were presented to each student by some members of the association, Mrs. Yetunde Alabi and Mrs. Fulusho Cholola, as well as the DG, Community Communication, Mrs. Mary Osho, the chairman of the occasion, and former managing director of Skybank, Mr. Olufemi Bakari, observes that indigenes of the state who sojourn in the foreign lands work tirelessly to survive, and thank those in Houston, Texas for giving back to their states of origin. Our guest lecturer, Professor Wole Olaiya, who spoke on education in the season of Japa, says in the current reality, students can survive in the sector through qualitative education to engender intelligence, character, and success.
Education is the process of acquiring knowledge, developing the process of reasoning and judgment. It is about generally preparing for mature life.
The Onishan Oba Gabriel Adejuwon, Ogoga Oba Adejimiadu, Olora Oba Peter Daramola, and Chief Shegun Ajibulu commended the efforts of members of the Ekiti Association in Houston, Texas for the initiative and Ekiti students to justify the largesse in the academics.
The student I'm appealing to you, someone is giving you now, you should have the mind of giving back in the future.
I mean, to be great, so that you can also do this thing, this type of thing to people who are coming behind you.
The students thanked the Ekiti Association in Houston, Texas for the prize awards and promised to keep the flag flying.
So happy and glad that I'm part of this program. The award is actually an encouragement for me to do well.
Toba Babalola reporting.
President Bola Tinubu has approved a 50% slash in the interstate transport fares for Nigerians traveling during the Yuletide as from tomorrow to January 4 next year. The president also approved free rides for commuters on all train services within the period. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, gave the information at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. He said that the federal government, through the Ministry of Transportation, will be working with transporters, road transport unions, the Nigeria Railway Corporation to seamlessly deliver on the special presidential initiative. In another development, President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking the screening and subsequent confirmation of 11 nominees for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court. Tinubu's request was contained in a letter read by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, at the plenary. The National Judicial Council, NJC, had recommended 11 justices to fill the vacant positions following the death and resignations of some justices. The Supreme Court currently has 10 justices, which falls short of the statutory requirement of 21. The nominees include Justice Aruna Samani Northeast, who chaired the Presidential Election Petitions Court, Justice Moore Adomian South-South, Justice Jumai Sankey North Central, Justice Shidebere Uwa Southeast, and Justice Choma Nwosu Iheme Southeast, among others. The others include Justice Obande Ogbunia Southeast, Justice Stephen Ada North Central, Justice Abib Abiru Southwest, Justice Jamilu Turko Northwest, Justice Abubakar Northwest, and Justice Muhammad Idris North Central. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Citizenship and Leadership, Ms. Brinsola Abiola, says that the Tinubu-led administration is committed to economic growth and social welfare. Abiola gave the assurance at a forum in Abuja. She highlighted the steps taken by the government, which demonstrates a commitment to prioritizing the welfare of Nigerians, such as initiatives under the Presidential Palliative Program targeted at the most vulnerable in the society. An NGO, Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education, has called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on unemployment in the country. The executive director of the center, Ibrahim Zekarulai, made the call at a news conference on the state of the nation in the capital city. He also called on government to vote 1 billion naira for job creation in each of the 774 local government areas across the country. Zekarulai added that the disbursement of the fund should be based on the unique characteristics of each of the local government areas. You're still watching the EKTV News at 7. We're going a short commercial break now, and the news continues thereafter. Please stay tuned.
Beautiful is your name. Wonderful is what you are to me.
Every mom, a treasure beyond measure. 3 Crowns Milk. Healthy moms, happy families.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Milo! Beautiful is your name. Wonderful is what you are.
treasure beyond measure. 3 Crowns Milk. Healthy moms, happy families.
Glad to have you back, and to the rest of the bulletin now. Road safety stakeholders have called for proactive measures and strict enforcement of traffic rules and regulations to curb road crashes in the country. The stakeholders particularly called for the review of penalties for traffic violations to make them more stringent so as to dissuade reckless driving and current disregard to traffic rules by motorists. They made the suggestions during a roundtable and dinner organized for critical stakeholders in the transportation and road safety matters in Abuja. The event, with the theme, The Challenges of Pre-Crash, Crash and Post-Crash Issues in Nigeria, The Way Forward, was organized by road safety stakeholders and Humanitarian Forum of Nigeria. In the meantime, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has expressed concerns over the lingering cash scarcity in the country. Few days to the Christmas celebration, the NLC said in a statement by its national president, Joe Ajaero, that the situation had serious implications for citizens, insisting that urgent steps must be taken to address it. The NLC warned the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria that a mass public protest was imminent if nothing was done to address the naira shortage. The Lagos state government has issued a directive to all tankers and trailers to stop the indiscriminate parking along the Celeb bus stop inward Tinkan Port axis, instructing them to vacate immediately. The special advisor to the governor of the state on transportation, Shalagiwa, who gave the information, said the directive was a decisive move to address the ongoing congestion and to alleviate the challenges faced by motorists along the area. The government emphasized the importance of a clear and unobstructed road network, urging tanker and trailer drivers to comply with the directive or be sanctioned in line with the state transport reform law. The Abia state government has vowed to commence enforcement of the ban on street trading, especially in the commercial city of Aba, with effect from next year. The Commissioner for Information, Oke Kanu, who gave the information after the State Executive Council meeting in Umuahia, described the actions of street traders who he lamented are taking over many of the renovated roads in Aba. He regretted that every appeal to the street traders to relocate to various markets in the city had fallen on deaf ears, but warned that the government will no longer sit back to watch the menace unchecked. The Ogun State House of Assembly has sworn in Lekunrere Shobukola of the All Progressives Congress, representing Ikenne constituency, as a member of the 10th Assembly. The development followed the annulment of the election of Babajide Owodunni of the People's Democratic Party by the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos at last November nullified the election of Owodunni and declared Shobukola, who was also a member of the 9th legislature, elected. Shobukola took the oath of office, an oath of allegiance administered by the Deputy Clerk, Mrs. Fumilayo Adeyemi, during a plenary held at the Assembly Complex in Abeokuta. In the meantime, the Rivers State elders and leaders have rejected the outcome of President Bola Tinubu's intervention in the political crisis rocking the state. They kicked against the directives issued by the president to the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, saying it contravened the Constitution. The elders, rising from an emergency meeting, said that the directives as issued by Tinubu were unacceptable, null and void. And the 26 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly have withdrawn their impeachment notice against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. This was contained in the notice of withdrawal read on the floor of the House. They said that the decision was made out of respect for President Tinubu, who on Monday convened a reconciliation meeting between the warring parties. The 26 lawmakers, lawyer to former Governor Nyesom Wike, sat at the House of Assembly complex this morning, where the decision was read out. The Mieti Alakatu Breeders Association of Nigeria has urged the federal government to come out with a clear-cut compensation package for all the victims of drone attacks across the country. The national president of the association, Baba Uthman Inglezama, made a call in Abuja. Uthman Inglezama appealed to the military to take precautions in discharging its constitutional duties of protecting and ensuring the unity of the country. He particularly called on the federal government to ensure that justice is done for those pastoralists allegedly killed in Rukubi, Doma Chiefdom, and Nasarawa State on January 27 this year. According to him, the victims were allegedly killed by a drone attack by the Nigerian Air Force. And now to foreign news. Hundreds of firefighters have battled a wildfire that has spread across a mountain near Cape Town and threatened South Africa's biggest naval base. Authorities say 5 out of the more than 3,000 firefighters deployed for the operation on hills overlooking Simon's Town have been injured. Report says that strong winds pushed the flames into the Simon's Town naval base, damaging one building, while about 40 nearby houses were evacuated in the early hours of today, according to the department. And in the U.S., the Colorado Supreme Court has disqualified former President U.S. of the country, Donald Trump, from the ballot in the state's presidential election next year over his role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol by supporters. The ruling makes Trump the first presidential candidate in the U.S. history to be deemed ineligible for the White House under a rarely used provision of the U.S. Constitution that bars officials who have engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding office. The court concluded that the U.S. Constitution barred the frontrunner of the Republican nomination in 2024 from appearing on the ballot because of his role in instigating violence against the U.S. government. The ruling applies only to the state's March 5 Republican primary, but its conclusion will likely also affect Trump's status for the November 5 general election. Non-participation in U.S. election, forecasters view Colorado as severely democratic, meaning that President Joe Biden will likely carry the state regardless of Trump's fate. And that's it on the EKTV News at 7 tonight. Thanks for watching. Good evening.
ẹ̀sìnkú ṣé àtàárọ̀ èyí ni ìròyìn lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ tí ó máa dé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyìn Ọláyínká Akínyẹmí lóníròyìn yìí. Ìyàwó gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì ọ̀mọ̀wé Ọláyẹmí Abíọ́dún Oyèbánjí ti kí gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì kú oríire fún bí wọ́n ti rí ayẹyẹ kérésìmesì ti ọdún yìí. Ọ̀mọ̀wé Abíọ́dún Oyèbánjí ẹni tó sọ̀rọ̀ níbi ayẹyẹ àwọn ọmọdé tí ọ́fíìsì rẹ̀ ṣàgbékalẹ̀ rẹ̀ láti fi ṣàjọyọ̀ ọdún kérésìmesì pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọdé nílùú Àdó gbà wọ́n níyànjú láti ṣe ayẹyẹ náà níwọ̀ntúnwọ̀nsì àti láti kọjú mọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ wọn kí wọ́n bá lè dèèyàn pàtàkì láwùjọ. Ètò orin kérésìmesì àti àṣàyàn ìwé kíkà ti ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gbogbonìṣe ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì tó kalẹ̀ sí ìlú Ìṣàn Èkìtì ti wáyé. Ayẹyẹ náà tí wọ́n pàkórí rẹ̀ ní ẹ jẹ́ ká jọyọ̀ làwọn aláṣẹ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ náà, àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àti àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ péjọ sí. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì ọ̀gbẹ́ni Bíọ́dún Oyèbánjí ti rọ àwọn tó ríṣẹ́ gíọ́là fún láwùjọ láti dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá nípa ṣíṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ tó tọ́ fún wọn nípa pàápàá lákòókò ọdún kérésìmesì yìí. Gómìnà sọ̀rọ̀ yìí nígbà tó ń pín ẹ̀bùn owó fáwọn oníṣòwò alábọ́dé tó fi mọ́ pínpín oúnjẹ fáwọn arúgbó káàkiri ìlú láwọn ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ kan. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Yẹmí Ọlájútẹ̀mú jábọ̀ ìròyìn náà, ẹ jẹ́ kí a gbọ́.
Ìpele ìkẹta pínpín owó fáwọn ọlọ́jà kéékèèké àti àwọn arúgbó kùjẹ́kùjẹ́ káàkiri àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì ló tẹ̀síwájú nílùú Ìdó-Ilé, Èrìò, Àwọ̀ àti Ìyìn Èkìtì. Ikọ̀ gómìnà Bíọ́dún Oyèbánjí èyí tí olùrànlọ́wọ́ pàtàkì lọ́fíìsì rẹ̀ arábìnrin Ṣọlá Àbẹ̀dárí ló ṣàlàyé pé bí ọrọ̀ ajé ti rí lákòókò yìí, gómìnà ó wá rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ sáwọn tó nífọ̀n lẹ́ẹ̀kanná nípìnlẹ̀ Èkìtì kí wọ́n fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìjọba lójúnà àti mú kí inú àwọn èèyàn ìpínlẹ̀ yìí dùn ju tàtẹ̀yìnwá nípa ṣíṣe ìrànwọ́ fún ẹnikẹ́ni tí wọ́n bá nípa. Lára àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ àǹfààní ètò náà ni wọ́n gbóríyìn fún gómìnà Bíọ́dún Oyèbánjí tí wọ́n sì ṣe àdúrà àṣeyọrí fún ìṣèjọba rẹ̀. Ètò ìrànwọ́ fáwọn ọlọ́jà kéékèèké àti fífún àwọn arúgbó lóúnjẹ ló ń tẹ̀síwájú nípínlẹ̀ Èkìtì níbi ikọ̀ gómìnà yóò ti lọ́ọ́ mọ́ bá àwọn ìlú kọ̀ọ̀kan lọ́jọ́ ọjà wọn. Yẹmí Ọlájútẹ̀mú ló ń
gbàyé gbádùn wọn. Gómìnà Bíọ́dún Oyèbánjí fi ìdánilójú náà múlẹ̀ lákòókò ìfilọ́lẹ̀ àmì ìrántí àwọn àbọ̀dé ogun fọ́dún tó ń bọ̀ àtètò ìkówójọ tó wáyé ní gbọ̀ngàn Lady Jíbówú nílé ìjọba nílùú Àdó Èkìtì. Àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ yóò túbọ̀ jẹ̀gbádùn ìdásí ìjọba látàrí àwọn akitiyan wọn lójúnà àti mú ètò àti àlàkalẹ̀ ìjọba wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Ìdánilójú yìí ló wáyé níbi ètò ìjíròrò pẹ̀lú olórí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì ọ̀gbẹ́ni Sunday Kọmọláfẹ́. Ètò náà tó wà lára àlàkalẹ̀ ètò láti sàmì sí àyájọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọlọ́sẹ̀ kan èyí tó wáyé ní oríkò àṣà secretariat nílùú Àdó Èkìtì. Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Kọmọláfẹ́ mẹ́nubà àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí gómìnà Oyèbánjí ti gbé fún ìgbáyégbádùn àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tó fi mọ́ sísan owó oṣù lásìkò, ìgbanisíṣẹ́ àti àgbéga àwọn òṣìṣẹ́. Olórí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ náà tẹnumọ́ pé kò sí èrò láti mú ìdádúró bá àwọn ọkọ̀ tó ń gbé àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀nà láti mú ìdẹ̀rùn bá wọn látàrí owó ìrànwọ́ orí epo tí wọ́n yọ. Ó rọ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ láti túbọ̀ ṣàtìlẹ́yìn fún ìjọba níbi ìjọba ti ń gbìyànjú láti dá sí ohun tí wọ́n fẹ́. Adájọ́ àgbà nípínlẹ̀ Èkìtì onídàájọ́ John Adéyẹyẹ ti ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ìgbìmọ̀ tó ń gbọ́ awuyewuye tó ṣúyọ lẹ́yìn ètò ìdìbò ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ láti fààyè gba àwọn ẹjọ́ tó bá ṣúyọ lẹ́yìn ètò ìdìbò tó ṣẹ̀ wáyé nípínlẹ̀ yìí lọ́jọ́ kejì oṣù yìí. Nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan tí akọ̀wé àgbà ilé ẹjọ́ náà Ọlánìkẹ́ Adégòkè fi léde, àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú tí èsì ìdìbò náà kò tẹ́ lọ́rùn ni wọ́n gbà nímọ̀ràn láti pẹjọ́ ní oríkò àjọ náà tó wà ní Fájuyì nílùú Àdó Èkìtì. Àtẹ̀jáde ọ̀hún fi kún pé ọ́fíìsì náà yóò wà ní ṣíṣí sílẹ̀ láàrin aago 9 àárọ̀ sí aago 3 ààbọ̀ ọ̀sán lọ́jọ́jọ́ ajé àti ọjọ́ jímọ̀. alága agbègbè ìdàgbàsókè àjọni ọmọọba Michael Ògúngbèmí ni wọ́n ti dá lọ́lá pẹ̀lú àmì ẹ̀yẹ aṣojú àṣeyọrí. àwọn tó ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò náà Interweave Solution International lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà sọ pé ẹ̀yẹ náà ló ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìwà aṣáájú àti ìfarajì fún iṣẹ́ tó yáàyì tí ọmọọba Ògúngbèmí ṣàfihàn rẹ̀. àwọn tó gbé ètò náà kalẹ̀ nílùú Àbújá gbóríyìn fún akitiyan ọmọọba Ògúngbèmí fún dídarí agbègbè ìdàgbàsókè àjọni tọkàntọkàn. nínú ìfèsì rẹ̀ alága ọ̀hún ọ̀gbẹ́ni Ògúngbèmí forí àmì ẹ̀yẹ náà sọ àwọn èèyàn agbègbè ìdàgbàsókè ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ àjọni. ó sọ pé àwọn ohun tó ń ṣe lágbègbè ìdàgbàsókè àjọni ni látàrí ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ àti ìdásí àwọn tọ́rọ̀ kàn níjọba ìbílẹ̀ náà. ti gba ẹ̀bùn lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Èkìtì tó ń gbé ìlú Houston ní Texas lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà. ayẹyẹ náà ló wáyé ní gbọ̀ngàn ẹgbẹ́ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́jáde ti Christ School nílùú Adó Èkìtì. ààrẹ Bọ́lá Tinubu ti fọwọ́ sí ìdásí méjì owó ọkọ̀ láti ìpínlẹ̀ kan sí òmíràn fáwọn tó fẹ́ rìnrìn àjò lákòókò ọ̀pọ̀ ṣìṣẹ́ ọdún bẹ̀rẹ̀ látọ̀la sí ọjọ́ 4 oṣù kínní ọdún tó ń bọ̀. èyí wáyé níbi ààrẹ ọ̀hún ṣe fọwọ́ sí ọkọ̀ ọ̀fẹ́ fún gbogbo àwọn tó bá fẹ́ wọkọ̀ ojú irin lákòókò ọdún náà. mínísítà fọ́rọ̀ ìdàgbàsókè ọ̀hún ohun àlùmọ́ọ́nì olùrànlọ́wọ́ pàtàkì àgbà sí ààrẹ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ aráàlú arábìnrin Rìnsọ́lá Abíọ́lá ti sọ pé ìjọba ààrẹ Tinubu ní ìfarajì sí ìdàgbàsókè ètò ọrọ̀ ajé àti ìgbáyégbádùn aráàlú. Abíọ́lá ṣe ìdánilójú yìí níbi àpérò kan nílùú Àbújá. ó ṣàlàyé àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí ìjọba gbé láti ṣàfihàn ìfarajì rẹ̀ lórí ètò ìtọ́jú aráàlú tó fi mọ́ àwọn ètò amáyédẹrùn tí ààrẹ gbé kalẹ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn ètò ìrànwọ́ fáwọn aláìní tí ààrẹ ṣàgbékalẹ̀ rẹ̀. àjọ kan tí kìí ṣe tìjọba chirid ti ké sí ìjọba àpapọ̀ láti pèsè ìgbésẹ̀ pàjáwìrì lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣiṣẹ́ ní orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. olùdarí àjọ náà Ibrahim Zikru láì ṣe ìpè yìí níbi àpéjọ àwọn oníròyìn lórí ọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí nílùú Àbújá. ó tún ké sí ìjọba láti ṣàgbékalẹ̀ owó tó tó bílíọ̀nù kan náírà fún ìpèsè iṣẹ́ ní àwọn ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ tó wà lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí. gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe sọ ìpèsè owó náà ni kó wà fún àwọn ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan. ẹgbẹ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí NLC ti fẹ̀dùn ọkàn wọn hàn lórí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ọ̀dá owó tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí. ọjọ́ díẹ̀ sọ́jọ́ ọdún kérésì làjọ NLC sọ̀rọ̀ nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan látọ̀dọ̀ ààrẹ ẹgbẹ́ náà Joe Ajero pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà ti ń nípa tí kò dára lára àwọn aráàlú tí wọ́n sì pè fún ìgbésẹ̀ ní kíákíá láti yanjú ọ̀rọ̀ náà. ẹgbẹ́ NLC ṣèkìlọ̀ sí ìjọba àpapọ̀ àti ilé ìfowópamọ́ àpapọ̀ torílẹ̀-èdè yìí pé ètò ìfìhànúhàn gbogbogbò yóò wáyé tí wọn kò bá wá nǹkan ṣe sí ọ̀dá owó náà. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ti ṣèbúrawọṣẹ́ fún Ọlákúnlé Ṣóbùkọ́lá ti ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú All Progressives Congress tó ṣojú ẹkùn ìdìbò Ìkẹnẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin. ìgbésẹ̀ ọ̀hún ló wáyé lẹ́yìn tí ilé ẹjọ́ kòtẹ́milọ́rùn fagilé ìdìbò tó gbé Babájídé Owódùnní ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú People's Democratic Party wọlé. ilé ẹjọ́ kòtẹ́milọ́rùn tó kalẹ̀ sílùú Èkó lóṣù tó kọjá ti fagilé ìdìbò tó gbé Owódùnní wọlé tó sì kéde Ṣóbùkọ́lá tó jẹ́ ọmọ ilé asòfin kẹsàn-án tí wọ́n dìbò yàn wọlé. Ṣóbùkọ́lá ni igbákejì akọ̀wé ilé arábìnrin Fúnmiláyọ̀ Adéyẹmí ṣèbúrawọṣẹ́ fún níbi ìjókòó ilé tó wáyé nílé asòfin ọ̀hún nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. olórí ilé asòfin náà Ọlákúnlé Bólúọmọ kí Ṣóbùkọ́lá kú oríire fún bó ṣe padà sí ilé asòfin ọ̀hún lórúkọ àwọn asòfin ilé ìgbìmọ̀ náà. ilé ẹjọ́ gíga jùlọ nípínlẹ̀ Colorado ní lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà ti yọ ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí Donald Trump kúrò nínú àwọn tí yóò díje sípò ààrẹ lórílẹ̀‐èdè ọ̀hún lọ́dún tó ń bọ̀ lórí ipa tó kó nínú akọlù tó wáyé lọ́jọ́ 6 oṣù kìíní ọdún 2021 èyí táwọn alátìlẹ́yìn rẹ̀ ṣe. ilé ẹjọ́ náà pinnu pé òfin orílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà fòfin dínà mọ́